Hey guys, it's Katie here, and I have a very fun little tutorial of sorts for you today on the dip stitch. Kinda seems to be everywhere nowadays, and I have a very hard head. I didn't want to learn it, but I loved the look of it, and I'm like, I need to do this. Sometimes the words don't compute with what you actually do, like they don't in my head. I had watched a couple tutorials and immediately was like, oh my gosh, this is so simple and it's so beautiful. So if you're not familiar with the dip stitch, here is an example. It is this beautiful V. I think it almost looks like hearts. These are my wing leader mitts that I'm going to show you on. And on this one, I had done some accent dips. But I'm going to show you just how easy this stitch pattern is. The full stitch repeat for working the dip stitch is over 4 rows. I'm just going to show you today exactly where you pick that dip up and make it hopefully a little clearer for you. And if you're somebody like me who words don't always compute with actions, hopefully this helps you. If you are starting to work your dip stitch right along the cast on edge of your work, like my wing leader mitts are, you're going to start your dips right on that cast on edge. I'm going to show you exactly where that is. If something is worked on the cast on edge like this, you can always work another round of ribbing if that makes it easier for you to see. But I'm going to show you what it looks like there and then on subsequent repeats. So for your first set of dips, if it is right along a cast on edge, like you see here, if this is not clear for you, you can always work another round of ribbing to make it a little clearer. So the very first step in the dip stitch pattern repeat is going to be a purl stitch in between each little dip. Now, what you're looking for is you are going to be going 3 rows underneath the row that's on your needles. So see this little space here? See this first V? That's part of the row that's on your needles. You're going to be counting those down and picking up the third one. So this is where it can be really tricky if you are working right along that cast on edge. So it may be easier for you to work an extra round of ribbing before you work this first set of dips to make the space absolutely clear. So here's our first row that's attached to our needle. We don't count hem. So you're going to go 1, 2, and 3. Insert your right hand needle into that space. Pull your working yarn through. Now you want to leave a loop the same size as the space for the rows that's on your needles. So 3 rows of space, that's how big our loop is. We're going to knit the next 3 stitches. Then the second loop of our dip is really easy. You're going to go back in that same exact space the first one came out of and pull a second one through. Again, leaving the loop the same height as the rows that are already on your needles. So we can do that one more time on the cast on edge so you can see it. We don't count this little space because he's attached to the row that's on our needles. So we go 1, 2, and 3. It can help if you open up that yarn just a little bit. Pull it through to accommodate the space that's already for the rounds on our needles. We knit 3. Then for that second dip, you're going to go right back into that space. And pull your working yarn through. That is exactly where you pull your yarn through and how it looks when you are along your cast on edge. So I have worked the other 3 rows that are outlined in my wing leader mitt pattern for the dip stitch. Now we're back to where we're going to be adding our dips again. I'm going to show you what it looks like after you've already worked one. So, and this can really help to stretch your stitches out and open them up so you can see them nice and clear. This first space belongs to the row that's on your needles. We don't want him, we don't count him. So what we're going to do is count down 1, 2, 3. This third space, we insert, pull our working yarn through, leaving a loop big enough to accommodate the space of the rounds that are on our needles. Going to knit 3. And then the second loop of the dip is just going to go back in that same exact space. Now, you may want to make sure to keep your finger on your right hand needle because these stitches can slide right to the top and want to come off. Again, pulling your loop big enough to accommodate the space for the rounds that are on your needles. So let's look at that one more time. We have a purl stitch in between each of these. We'll work that. Spread those stitches out so you can clearly see them. So we're going to spread the stitches out so we can clearly see them. We don't count hem. We go 1, 2, and 3. Pull our loop through. Work 3. Then we're going to go back in that same loop. We're going to go back through that same loop to pull our other loop up. Just make sure your tension is good to take up the space of the rounds that are already on your needles so you don't pucker your work. So the other thing I wanted to add is the dip stitch is fabulous to learn if you want to perfect or work on your tension. Whenever we hear the word tension or yarn management, all that jazz, we instantly think of color work. And it may be a little difficult to gauge your exact tension without constantly spreading your stitches out on your needles because your floats are in the back of your work. Your floats for the dip stitch are right in front. You see them. So this is a fabulous tool to learn to practice your tension. Take a moment, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another one of my videos. Give this a thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to check out my wing leader mitt pattern, which is on Ravelry and Etsy. Everything is linked down below. And I hope you have fun dipping. Happy knitting, everybody.